Hello, everyone, and welcome to M2 Esports. Today, our M2 Huskies Overwatch team is going to be taking on the Savannah College of Art and Design in the Overwatch Playfly League playoffs.
Yeah,
Hey.
I'm Aiden. This is Ben. We are delighted to have you guys joining us today for Overwatch's first playoff game. We talked about last time we were here on Monday about who actually made it to playoffs. We're excited to have more than just one team accompanying our League of Legends team. This will be my first time casting Overwatch, so we hope to give you guys a pretty good show, especially for this being their first playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty decent at Overwatch. I was Diamond in competitive Mystery Heroes, which
Yeah.
obviously means I'm an expert in the game, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I recently found out that there's more characters than just Widowmaker in the game, which was an
Okay,
interesting
okay.
discovery. I guess hindsight is 2020. It probably would have been quite a boring game if that was the only character. But I mean, I know it's the only character I've been playing in the server, so
Yeah.
everything else is just too underpowered, I'd say.
Well, you know who doesn't play Widowmaker? Our wonderful players, and we're gonna pull up the roster screen here in just a moment, because I do believe that we are likely rocking out with the Brandon Susky as
Goodbye, roster screen.
or not. Okay, well, yeah, that's okay. Oh, there we are.
There
Okay,
we go.
so we have Jacob Roy Borland, JRB, as our tank. We have Isaac and Jacob, Scott and Isaac as our DPS, and then Lucas and Chris, Cheese Bread and Savage for the win as our supports this evening.
Yeah, I believe Chris is our main support, and then I don't know if it's secondary support is what you call the
It's
other
called a
one.
flex
But
support.
flex support, okay. So yeah, very strong roster. I know that you can see on screen right there. Every single person on our Overwatch team is top 500. This is quite an impressive feat. I don't know if it's top 500 NA or top 100 World or
I'm
whatever it
pretty
is.
sure it's NA.
NA, yeah. But I mean, regardless, for a game with millions of players, that is
Yeah,
a
that's very impressive.
extremely impressive feat. And so I can't really judge based on the gameplay because I haven't played that much of the game myself, but we're going to be seeing very high level gameplay. The people that are on our Michigan Tech team, some of them have shared like LAN stages with pros and things like that. And so this is hopefully going to be an extremely interesting and entertaining game for us to watch. We are getting into the first map here. We're going to be on Ilios for our first round, it's going to be a best of 5 today, and we're going to be cycling through multiple different game modes, as is the standard Overwatch competitive format.
Yeah, so we should be hopping in here in just a moment. But it appears we're going to be playing on Ilios. Hey, I like Ilios. I think Ilios is a very beautiful map, actually.
Yeah.
And we're going to be hopping into it here in just... There we go. And as you can see, Ilios is a beautiful location by the lake, or the ocean, I suppose. Yeah, hey. But it's where we're going to be having our competition here today for our first round.
Yeah, I just want to bring a little bit of attention here to the matchups. We have some shared matchups between these couple of people. The main one that I want to point out is that there is a Lucio on both teams. I don't know, should we get into who exactly the characters are going to be doing? Or I mean, they're about to attack right here, so I guess we'll have to learn on the fly. So we're currently playing in Control, and the objective of this game mode is to take control of a point. As you can see in that circle up there, it will change color depending on who has control of it. Michigan Tech is in the blue, and when your team has control of the point, you'll be gaining a percentage of score. When that bar reaches 100, your team will gain an entire point.
Yep, and then it's going to be JRB taking down the enemy team's Winston, which is their tank, which is putting MTU in a very advantageous position because now the enemy team, well, has no tank. And with Overwatch 2, it's very much devolved into, like, you know, the tank is kind of the most important part of the team. If you don't have your tank, you're kind of collapsing.
Yeah, so that's an extremely important first pick for Michigan Tech to get because when you do go down in the game, you will have to wait a certain amount of time before respawning. And considering the tanks are the ones that are supposed to stay alive, it really hurts your team's potential because there's nobody to soak up all of that damage.
Because that's going to be Jolo going down, unfortunate, but Sky is still here. Holding down the point as much as possible. As you can see, percentage is taking up for the side of MTU.
Yeah, we do currently have control of that point. Want to point out again there that, okay, unfortunately deaths there for Kiriko and Tracer. That's going to be one of our supports, one of our DPS is going down. But I did want to say again, Winston had died again. And so that is a pretty important thing there to consider that we're able to isolate their tanks twice. So our tank currently is holding back a little bit, conceding control at that point while we regroup going in for another attack.
Yeah, so right now the enemy team, Savannah, does have control at that point, but they are holding a much more forward position because they are trying to keep us pushed back as far as possible, as long as possible. You can see that Ska was able to slip around and able to get a pretty good amount of percentage. Does have to pop recall there and then back out, but now hopefully JRB will be able to, nope, just going to give up the point percentage that Ska was able to earn because it did kind of pull them back off of M2U's spawn and let M2U kind of get a foothold here.
Yeah, it's going to be a good ground slam there, though. We do have the ultimate online for our Wrecking Ball, so that's going to throw out a bunch of mines when he does choose to use that, as well as the ultimate is online for the enemy Lucio, so potentially if they do need to fight for a point, the other team will have the ability to use that. Michigan Tech, having lost control of the main point there, we did have a character swap to Ash.
Oh, this is actually
or not Ash.
Sorry, Cassidy.
Yeah, Cassidy on Jolo, so potentially just wanting a little bit more of that range DPS, not exactly wanting to get in up close. We do have our Lucio ult online, but unfortunately Savage is going to be taken down as the point continues to tick upwards for the side of the opponent.
Yeah, this game mode does heavily favor whoever currently has the point. It's a lot easier to just stay on point and bother the enemy team and make sure they can't cap it while your points slowly tick upwards as opposed to trying to actively take the point.
Yeah, so a little bit of a defender advantage there, but still not the end of the world even if we do lose the first point here, so pretty much just, you can see we're roaming a little bit. I'm wondering if we're attempting to try to regroup at some point and just go for a larger dive on the point, or potentially wanting to capitalize once the enemy team actually does get that first point so that we can take control of the next objective easier.
Yeah, getting a little worried. We are seeing a lot of swaps from Jolo, who has gone to Cassidy and now to Reaper. Reaper, of course, being a notorious tank shredder, possibly trying to deal with that Winston, it would seem, but that is going to be costing Jolo ult charge, and Jolo is going to be kind of run down and taken out.
Yeah,
JRB is the lone soldier left on point. Let's see if we can get this done with Ska.
Yeah, as long as we manage to touch the point before that bar completely ticks down, the enemy team will not be able to see it. You can see Tracer trying to dance around and get those touches on the point. But unfortunately, it looks like we're probably just going to be feeding one by one unless we do manage to take out more of the opposing team.
Yeah,
Little
we just
respawn
had
there from
Lucio ult pop out.
Lucio.
Was able to get a bit of, and that is going to be MTU taking the point. Fantastically played.
Yeah, so a little bit of the nick of time right there, getting it right as that overtime bar was ticking down. We do, however, have to hold the point for another 60% without giving it up once in order to be able to take the point. With that kill onto our Reaper, it's going to be a little bit harder there. But perhaps a little bit more value. We saw a little bit harder to die than on Tracer when you aren't out of those, or not ult charges, those dash charges there. But this is the enemy team now, almost having the point under control. See Savage is dancing around the side here, trying to get, he's going to go for a touch here so that we manage to not lose the objective in its entirety, but unfortunately the touch is going to cost him his life, and so now it's just onto Tracer and the other surrounding members of Michigan Tech around the point to try to get these touches, while we wait for the rest of our team to rotate in. With that kill onto Tracer and Reaper, though, this probably isn't going to be able to get touched by Kiriko in time.
We do see ball on the point. That is ball going to be going down. Chief probably won't be able to hold on for long. Able to pop the invincibility for a little bit, but not going to be enough. And that's going to be Savage just letting the point rock.
Yeah, so that is going to be the first point for the side of the opponents. Michigan Tech a little bit unlucky there, just losing control of the point early, not really able to claw their way back and get that as time went on. But not the end of the world. As you can see here, it's just 1 point. You do need, I believe, 2 points to win.
Yes, it is a best of 3 for this map.
Yeah, so we still just need to, get those couple of touches there. And considering that we're going to be playing on a different spot in the same map every time, what positions could potentially favor the opponent one round, we do manage to, switch it up, potentially favor us in the next. So about 8 seconds here before we get in there. Anything you wanted to touch about how you saw us playing that first fight or that first round, things you think we should improve on?
Yeah, a little bit underwhelmed by Jolo's performance, honestly. I feel like he was just switching a little bit too much. So if he can just, pick the Sojourn and then try and lock in and stay on it and make it work, I think that could be going a lot better for MTU.
Yeah, kind of looking for the same thing there. I think that we were having a little bit of trouble getting value out of the DPS. We had a couple good dives, but I remember we had a good Reaper dive, but the enemy was Lucio ulted at that time, and so just too much health to deal with. But speaking of Lucio, though, we know how good Savage can be on this character. Look at their almost diving on their Wrecking Ball, actually going to get the kill onto Sojourn. And so this is potentially Michigan Tech. Yep, we're going to have secured that first point, and it's going to be our percentage that starts ticking up here now. One interesting thing that I want to point out here is that Lucio is playing around this side tower because Lucio has the ability to knock people around with his projectiles, and if he's able to get a good knock onto somebody, you can just send them off the map from easy though.
Yeah,
So
but you just tried to do a Winston there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But
yeah, so at the same time, though, our Wrecking Ball getting a kill onto their Kiriko, and so still good control at this point here. See, enemy almost has tick up, point is currently contested. Savage for the win, just trying to do his best to keep them from getting those touches and gain control of the point, but...
Yeah, I think Lucio is actually a very fascinating character. He's been a staple of the Overwatch competitive scene because like he doesn't really do a lot of healing, but what he does do with like his ability to CC opponents, move them around, his gigantic ultimate, the massive shield, and then also his ability to give that speed boost have just made him a very solid pick for many years.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those like very high skill ceiling characters there, where there's a lot that you can do with it. I see him here even just getting that assist onto the Tracer from the enemy team here. Michigan Tech still doing a good job of keeping the opponents off the point. It's going to be 60% for us now capture without the enemy getting a touch since that initial attempt at contestation. A little bit of attempting to dive onto Winston here, not exactly able to get the kill there. It's going to be a Kiriko ult coming out from us, so that's going to give us increased movement speed as we stand within those Kitsune gates. Still, Michigan Tech doing a very good job of locking down this point. This is a lot more close quarters brawl in the middle here, and so I imagine it's a bit easier for Michigan Tech, like you had said, to once we actually had control of that point at the beginning, just be able to maintain that dominant positioning, because if the opponent tries to step into the point, they're getting very berated from all angles. It's a lot less, it's a lot more out in the open on this section of the map than it was on the previous objective.
Yep, and now we're watching JRP on the ball here. Ball being an extremely mobile character, as you can see, that is going to be ball coming out, dropping those mines onto the field, hopefully able to get a little bit of area disruption with that.
Yeah, you can see the same overtime bar here, so Michigan Tech just needs to prevent the opponents from getting a touch while that bar ticks down. It is going to be Savage kill Sander is also, or the Tracer from the enemy team also going to be killing our Tracer. That is going to be a 3v4 on objective for the side of Michigan Tech. Still have our tank alive. Kiriko's respawning for us. Their Tracer still also going down, so now still a 3v4 for the side of Michigan Tech. However, in this chaos, the opponents have managed to take control of that point, and so that bar will begin ticking up for them. It's going to be a hard task for them to hold on to the point for the entirety of that bar, because if Michigan Tech gains control at any point, manage to let that overtime bar go down, we will end up taking this objective point. But
yeah, Michigan Tech's objective in this moment is to just build ult charge before they reach 100%, come in there with all 5 ultimates, pop them all, win, take the point. Easy map.
Yeah, I know that for those a little bit more unfamiliar with the game, because I believe my mom is watching, in the top left and right of your screen, you're going to see the different character names. Ooh, that is a big hit for Michigan Tech there. All the characters with those percentages by them, that is the charge of their ultimates, similar to other hero shooters. Stuff like, you know, when your ultimate is just a very powerful ability you have to build up over time. And so Michigan Tech potentially looking to combo these ults together, get 2 or 3 of them online where there isn't really anything the enemy can do about that. For the time being here, yeah, so we have Tracer ult and Ball ult online. Ball ult, like we said, just a lot of those very valuable mines getting placed. Tracer ult basically able to place down a big sticky bomb. That is going to be Ball ult coming out from our side. Potentially see Tracer ult to follow up, while Lucio ult is in effect as well, giving a lot of overshield to the MTU's allied team here. Big fight. We have managed to touch point a tiny bit, but still a decent way to go before we're able to secure that back in our objective. Kitsune rush online here for our Kiriko. So not a lot of ults close besides the Lucio ult and of course the Tracer ult currently online for the enemy team here. Speaking of Tracer ult, our Tracer ult is going to be taking out the Sojourn for the side of the opponents here. So both Sojourns actually currently out of the fight, with the opponents just respawning. Getting a little bit worried here for the side of Michigan Tech, considering there's only 10% more to go before the enemies will have control of that point, and Michigan Tech will need to keep touches in because it will be in overtime here. I'm not exactly thrilled with the fact that Michigan Tech hasn't looked to combo their ults. I've seen a lot of individual ults come out. We saw Sojourn ult come out, then Ball ult, and then Tracer ult. So potentially a little bit of a lost opportunity here. Obviously not yet over for Michigan Tech as long as we manage to keep these touches. As you can see here, Kiriko not going to be touching point. But a little bit of a tense situation for us, I'd say.
Yeah, just a bit. If MTU ends up losing this, then that will be round 1 going to the side of Savannah.
Yeah, big kill there from our Tracer onto the opposing Tracer here as we continue to brawl on point here. Our Kiriko going to be respawning in just a moment here. Need a touch though, and that is unfortunate. I think our Lucio there just attempting to get on the point at the last second, but the bar does end up ticking down before he is able to get a touch, and that is going to be an unfortunate first round loss for the side of Michigan Tech here. Play of the game coming out for the enemy Lucio, so I'll have to take a look at that there.
Yep. Oh, don't they get the boop kill? Oh
Oh,
no, poor
yeah.
Chris.
Our Lucio going down to, as I was stating earlier on in this match, just talking about, if you get shot off the side of the map, there's really anything you can do about that. So that is just good game knowledge for the side there. Obviously, the opponents that we're going up against having a lot of top 500s as well. Like I said, very high level matchups. So a lot of very micro mistakes that you potentially wouldn't see in other matchups that we have here for esports getting punished for the side of Overwatch, because none of them are making big mistakes, but it's just these really small things that people at this level are able to capitalize and take advantage of. And so that unfortunately does lead to Michigan Tech going down 1-0 in this opening match.
Yeah, that's not exactly the start you want to see, but this is a best of 5. That is only map 1, a map that MTU does practice on a lot, which is a little bit. I mean, you could definitely see that they were definitely locking in on the enemy team's strategy in that second part of the map,
Yeah.
but just wasn't able to finish it out, unfortunately. Um, but in the meantime, while we wait for round 2 to start, we can hop into the schedule real quick. There's not much to see here because we have Thanksgiving break going on next week. So we will have no streams during that. Everyone at MTU should have a really relaxing week before week 14 and then finals.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it'll be great. But as you can all see, we did on Friday of last week have our gauntlet of games, which was Valorant. That's where a whole bunch of different players from MTU, from a whole bunch of different esports teams, are randomly mixed into teams of their own to verse in a game. And hey, you're in the finals.
Yeah, I am, along with Chris Savage for the win here. He is on my team. A lot of that previous FPS experience really showing its head in the match we played on Friday. I don't know if there are Overwatch players on Shoop's team. I think there are, but I can't name them off the top of my head if they do exist. And so, but not just Friday, though. Obviously, on Monday, we had our League of Legends game where we managed to squeak out that 2-1 victory after going down on the first map against CSUSB. So pretty good luck there for the side of Michigan Tech team. We're hoping that today, obviously, with Overwatch, that Overwatch team can replicate the same amount of success that our league team had and move forwards into the semifinals for these Playfly playoffs.
Yeah, but as for Overwatch, I'm feeling pretty confident. We're probably going to see like a King's Row next. Once we get the information, we can toss it up on the best of 5 map screen, I believe we have. Yep, I'm getting a nod from production. So once we have that information, that will come out to all of you. We don't have it just yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, they did map picks and bans a little bit late, so we have to deal with the consequences of that there. But I know that at least this Ilios is not our team's best map. I'm blanking on what our best map is, or at least what Chris told me they really like to play. I know it's the one of the spots is the ancient overgrown rubble. It's a very good Widow map with
Oh,
the
you're
pit.
talking about that Oasis?
It might be Oasis.
That is their round 1 preferred map. I don't think Ilios is the preferred. I may have mentioned
Yeah.
that Ilios was their preferred. That was incorrect. They do like going to Oasis map 1, and this is not Oasis. This was Ilios. But since MTU does get to pick the next map, I believe we'll be going to King's Row.
Yeah.
Just a hunch. No, nothing. No knowledge behind it. Definitely not called Scrims Row here in MTU.
Yeah.
Just because how much we scrimmage that map. It's
Big staple.
yeah. I think it's a staple Overwatch map.
Yeah. While we wait for this next map to get loaded up and everybody get ready, I was wondering if you could just talk me through a little bit of what you saw in both our strategy and the opposing team strategy on this first map here.
Yeah. So Ilios is pretty notorious for being able to be abused by these characters that have forced movement abilities. So like you'll see in that second part of the map where you had like that big hole in the center, you'll see Roadhog. He's got like a hook. He'll throw out his hook, pull people into the hole. They fall down into the abyss and die. So that's pretty often you see that. Lucio loves the map. So you did see both teams running Lucio there. And then Ball also has a lot of options to like knock people into there.
Yeah, we did see him going for that a lot of the time, just flying up into the sky and then going for that ground slam.
Yeah, so it's a unique property of that map that like it very much favors those characters that can knock around their enemies.
Yeah, so a little bit unlucky there that we were kind of on the, or a little bit unlucky that we were on the receiving end of that there. I believe a little bit more than we were on the, dealing end. But
yeah, you did see that play of the game. Unfortunately, Chris took that
Yeah.
boop into the abyss.
he unfortunately got Lucio diffed for a brief second because I believe he was like top I forget what it was, like top 10 Lucio at some point.
That sounds familiar.
Take that with a grain of salt, but I know he was like very high up on one of the, I
Yes,
believe
he
it
has.
was Lucio.
He said that he had a very small number on Lucio, which is a good thing.
Yes, it's like
Yes.
goal.
In top 500, smaller is better.
Yeah. So, very good players there. Just waiting for a little bit here before we get into the next match. I believe we are connecting to the game server right now, and then we'll get.
Yeah, it looks like we're having a couple technical difficulties on our Overwatch, which is not what you want to see. So we're actually going to hop into a brief intermission here for just a moment to take care of that, and then we'll be back to talk about Overwatch. And we are back. So those technical difficulties were resolved. It seemed that everyone was kicked from the Overwatch servers.
Yeah.
So that's just great.
Brief moment of clarity. Then
we love it. We love it when things break.
Yeah. So not just us, just kind of everybody. It seems like everybody in our party as well as theirs. So a little bit unfortunate. But we can get back into the action pretty quickly. Luckily, it isn't a extended issue.
Yep,
Fingers
and
crossed,
we
knock on wood.
do have roster information now because we have swapped out some of our players. So you can now see that we have Susky as our tank, Mr. Brendan Susky. So he will be taking over for Jacob. The reason we have two different tanks is that one of them excels a lot more in these different team compositions we have. Certain characters work better together. And so if you have this person focusing on these kind of characters and this person focusing on those kind of characters, then you reach a very happy area where whatever you need, you can put someone in who excels at those kind of characters.
Yeah. So just good overall, just having those, because obviously you're going to have different maps, different compositions that are better on certain maps, and part of the strategy, I guess, when you get up to these higher levels is kind of what players are we going to play for certain characters, trying to counter pick what you think they're going to be going for before they counter pick what you're going to be on. And so should be pretty interesting here. I do believe, considering that Suski is now in. We'll probably be saying Ram instead of Ball being played. So should be kind of similar, but probably a little bit more ranged, considering that Ram doesn't have to be as far in their face when you are going for these bigger fights. But still probably will see Savage playing that Lucio or a Wu Yang. Cheesebread probably still in like Kiriko and stuff like that. So should be pretty similar, but
Yeah, so it does look like he
some
locked
changes.
in King's Row for the next map, and that is going to be our ban is Winston apparently. So we weren't happy with all the Winston dives coming down on our heads.
Yeah. Do we only get one ban in this game mode?
Yes, we only get one ban in this game mode. No, apologies. Yes, yes. So we do only get one ban in this game mode. Also, I believe that Ilios was picked by Savannah, but we can fix that a little bit later. So MG did not pick Ilios. We would have picked Oasis.
Yeah, so no worries there. Yeah, like you said, we launch Oasis as our next map. Hopefully we'll be able to play it later in the map pool, considering that we didn't
Yeah,
pick into it first.
yeah, fairly certain that so basically each part of the map picks is a different type of map. So like for example, we start with a control point where you have a point in the center, try and hold it to 100%, do
Yeah.
that best of 3. For the next one is a hybrid, meaning that we start with a control point that you try and take, and then it turns into a payload that you need to push to the end of the map. That includes maps like King's Row, like Eichenwald. I'm not remembering any others off the top of my head. Blizzard World
Yeah,
is
Blizzard World
one.
is one.
But after that, I believe we move into just pure push the cart. That'd be like Junktown.
Yeah,
Junkertown.
Junkertown,
Yep.
as well as uh,
Actually, is that correct? No, third map is generally Flashpoint, I believe.
ah,
Because that is like New Junk City. It's Suravasa. Suravasa is the one that we normally see.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Michigan Tech, we are enjoyers of our Kings Row. Uh, defense can be a bit rough until like the very end of the point, but hopefully we can push past their defense and then lock down our own.
yeah. I believe another hybrid is it Hollywood?
Yes,
Yeah,
Hollywood is
Hollywood is
also a
hybrid as
hybrid.
well. Hollywood, whatever the year is. I think it's called something just beyond Hollywood. But yeah, so basically just the takeaway from all of this is that just because we didn't do that well at the first game mode, it was on a map that we weren't as good at. We should have pretty good luck here coming into these next couple of maps, especially because we're going to be hopefully getting a bit more value out of our other DPSs. For example, like our Tracer, going to be a little bit harder for them to protect their DPSs from our dive when they need to constantly be moving around, especially when they are attacking. Because for payload game mode, basically what you will be seeing is that one team is going to start as attackers, one team is going to start as defenders. The attackers are going to need to move the payload after capturing the original control point. They're going to need to move the payload to a certain location, and you will get points depending on how far you can move the payload. And then we will swap sides. The other side will have the opportunity to move the payload, and then depending on who makes it further, they will end up winning. And if both teams don't manage to make or obtain any more points by than the other team by the time the timer runs out for both of them, or both payloads end up reaching their destination, we will go into an overtime where we will basically replay that attacker's defenders for both sides, but with a much reduced amount of time to get the payload to its intended destination.
Yeah, so as you can see here, this is going to be the first spot that I need to capture that first control point. And then the cart will be coming out of these doors, and then it'll need to be pushed all the way along this street, and then back here into this factory, and then ending finally right here.
Yeah, so typically what you'll see is going to be like a pretty big brawl over the first area. Once that point gets taken, it'll be decently fast to get it to the factory, and then there'll be a lot of stalling out at the factory, at least from my experience.
Yep, so you can see the defenders leaving their spawn now. MTU will be starting on attack. So they will be the red side.
So interesting to see here, we are running that Venture. Venture, Reaper, I believe, is it Zarya?
That is Ramatra.
Yeah, Ramatra.
I see a Sojourn, a Tracer, and a Sorry, that's for the other team.
Yeah.
We are running Zarya, Reaper, Venture, Kiriko, and Lucio.
Lucio, yeah. So Venture is something that Michigan Tech likes to play a lot. Basically, she's able to, I believe we're going back to our Venture bubble comp with this.
Yes, this will be the Venture Bubble comp.
Yeah.
Basically, you have this character here, Zarya, who is able to bubble herself and allies to take damage for them while powering up their own attacks. And so Venture pops up out of the ground, gets Zarya bubbled. You can see that Zarya bubble going onto the Reaper right there. And then when Zarya bubble gets hit by bullets, it makes Zarya's primary attack better. You
Yeah.
see Zarya's already at 100% charge.
Unfortunately there,
going to do a lot
though,
of damage.
in the beginning for Michigan Tech, with two of us going down, though, however, going to be a pretty fast respawn to get us back into the action here. Good from our Venture there to take down the Lucio from the opposite side, so off that pick, potentially us looking to move up a little bit. You can see Venture here just biding their time, waiting. Yeah, just as we move on to this first control point here. So Michigan Tech up in the top here, just trying to get on to that first point as we continue. Venture, you can see in the ground here pop up. It's going to be a good kill.
Beautiful little kill from Isaac.
Yeah. So that's going to be a good ISO, just seeing the enemy team was low there. They're unable to really get out of the way of that Venture at the time she goes up there. Just attempting to stay alive. Unfortunately going to be taken down by the Ramatra from the opposite side. But Michigan Tech here now with 2 of the 3 ready for to be able to take this point. So just need to fill up that last charge, and we will be able to get this payload underway.
Yep, so we can see that Scott is currently blasting down the enemy Ramatra, trying to keep them off that point, trying to just, get them off the field, lock down this point. You can already see that we're at 2 ticks, nearly at a 3rd tick. We got 4 people on point,
and there it is.
Completely pushed them off. So now that payload is going to be coming out for the side of MTU. We're likely going to be leaving Cheesebread, our Kiriko, on the point while 4 of our team members push up and try and keep them as far away from the payload as possible, try and clear as much space as possible.
Yeah, so Michigan Tech here basically just the objective of everybody who's not going to be sitting on that payload is just to be as annoying as possible. Keep eyes off of the person sitting on the payload there. A good kill from our Tracer there with the ultimate, the sticky bomb, onto the Sojourn from the opposite side. So that is going to make it a 4v5 for the side of Michigan Tech. For a brief couple of moments here, you can see Tracer actually is the one who seems to be sitting on the payload along with Lucio, just trying to push them back. Tracer, I guess, not really feeling the need to go for any dive right now.
Yeah, that's going to be the carry ult coming out.
Yeah, a bit of
we are running down this Ramatra. Ramatra is popping ultimate, but our Lucio is going to be popping ultimate as well.
And there it is, the Aftershock.
Yep, that's going to be the Aftershock as well. MTU popping a whole bunch of ultimates. The enemy team also popped their Kiri ult and their Ramatra ult. It just was not enough to keep back MTU's push. We also popped Lucio ult there as well.
Yeah, so that was interesting there. I don't know if that was an overextension from Ramatra from the opposite side. It didn't really seem like they had a lot of support going in there. Potentially, like you said, could have just been trying to draw eyes off the rest of the opposing team to just make it so that they could take advantage of those also they did end up popping. But Michigan Tech doing a very good job there to just full ISO the tank for the opposing side and making sure that we're able to take them down, popping our ult when we needed to there.
Yes, we're very likely to see a Susky ult here to try and clear this point if needed. It was very smart of
There's the
Susky.
ult.
Yep, there's the Susky ult coming out. Very smart of him to hold on to that in that last team fight, not pop too many of their ultimates all at once. Unfortunately, wasn't able to gain them too much ground. They are going to be backing off of this point as both Cheesebread and Savage for the win are down.
Yeah,
now there's going to be Isaac dropping as well. Not Isaac, sorry, Susky dropping as well. There's Isaac dropping as well.
Yeah, so almost a full team wipe for the side of Michigan Tech there. Just the Tracer and Lucio biding their time, just waiting for those respawns to come through. We are pretty close, I believe, here to that second checkpoint there.
Yes, we are nearing that second checkpoint, but since no one on the side of MTU is currently on the point, it's going to be moving back toward, away from the side of Savannah.
Yeah, luckily for us, though, it does move backwards a lot slower than it goes forward when you have people sitting on the point. And I believe also the more people you have sitting on the point at once, is that
yes, that does
faster?
speed it up as well. You can see that Susky here was able to get a pick onto their Kiriko, and we are currently pushing them back. We've made it onto point, and we are pushing it forward, but Savannah's still right there. They may be able to stop us from fully capping this part of the track.
Yeah, luckily though, I believe a little bit of an overextension from the Tracer from the opposite team there. Our Venture actually able to take them down. Just potential Tracer, one of those glass cannon characters. She's running a dash, she's going to be recall available. Just kind of nothing you can do to get out of there. Especially considering that we have Sticky Bomb on line for our Tracer. I think that considering how extended the opposing team is right now, could get some good value out of this ultimate. Unfortunately, there's going to be the Sojourn taking down the Venture for our side, so we're going to lose a little bit of that firepower, but quickly back in the fight. Also close to that next Aftershock as well. However, I do want to point out there are the Ramatra ult as well as the Kiriko ult on the side of the opponents here, with the Sojourn online, ult coming online just momentarily, and so potentially a lot of stuff in place with the Kiriko ult getting popped to push Michigan Tech off of this point. So
MTU does have 3 minutes, so they can afford to give a little leeway in terms of, because the card is still fairly close to the last checkpoint. So they can back off a little bit while this Kiriko ult went on for the side of Savannah, and now they can come back in here. We can see that Ramatra is getting very close to his ultimate. Lucio just popped his ultimate.
Yep,
that's going to give that massive shield to the side of MTU. That is going to be the ultimate from the opposing Ramatra. I don't believe Suski's going to drop his ult here as well. Probably wait for the enemy Ramatra's ult to come down offline, and then use it probably a little bit more strategically to try and retake space once his team is ready.
Yeah, I can see here.
Isaac is going to be switching to Mei.
Yeah, so that's a lot of that freeze.
Yes, Mei does have a lot of slowing, can create terrain, has fairly good mid-range projectile damage, and then also has that big ult where they freeze everyone in this giant circle.
Yeah, so pretty good here. Unfortunately, that is going to be the Sojourn ult taking out, ooh, and a big 4K, 3 kills off of that Sojourn ult, and a full team wipe onto Michigan Tech. That is unfortunate. Just a very well-played Sojourn ult. I did not, in fact, see that come in for the side of the opponents there, but...
So that's okay, though. We've held on to the Ramatra ult. Suski hasn't popped it yet. We also have that Kiriko ult coming up soon, along with that Tracer ult. Tracer ult does come back up notoriously quickly. So MTU definitely has some resources to try and retake this point.
Yeah, Suski getting a little bit low there, but yeah, there's going to be the Kiriko ult coming online for our side. So a little bit over a minute 30 for us to work with here. Kiriko ult getting pushed or getting popped here for the side of Michigan Tech just to move forward, and we are going to see that assist from the Kiriko come out as our Tracer gets the kill onto the opposing Kiriko, as well as the Kiriko actually continuing the turn of dominance as the Sojourn.
Yep, that is going to be the Genji ult coming out. Is he going to be able to get any kills? We do see that he didn't actually get any picks there, and that's going to be Genji going down without getting a single pick off of his ultimate. Absolutely massive for MTU.
Yeah, you saw there, though, the Genji ult attempted to get onto our Mei, but one of Mei's abilities is her ability to encase herself in that type of ice and heal up while becoming vulnerable to damage. So a very good bait. I don't like that from their Genji there, the decision to focus onto our Mei, knowing that she has that ability available. But our Mei ult also just about to come online here, as well as our Tracer ult. Lucio only 25% away, and so Michigan Tech, as long as we don't lose any people here, should have the ults online to go for a very dominant final push and get this payload to its destination here. The Tracer ult is
going to be Tracer ult taking down Sojourn. You can see immediately Isaac is going to be running in here with his ultimate, trying to, that is going to be the freeze landing onto their Ramatra, able to get a ton of damage. Lucio ult is going to be coming down, and then it's going to be the Ramatra ult and the Kiriko ult from the side of Savannah. Will it be enough? We do see that Lucio coming down for the side of MTU as well. Are they going to be able to take this point?
Yeah, unfortunately, our Kiriko has fallen to the opposing Kiriko there, but the tank for the opposite side falls, and this is going to get 2K from
Absolutely massive. Isaac is down, but that's okay. Suski is getting very low. Will Cheesebread and Savage for the win be able to keep him up? Yes, they will.
15 seconds and 2.5 meters to push this payload. Can we do it here? There's going to be the swap onto the Sombra here for this our
coming
side.
Right down to the line. 0.35 meters left, but someone on the side of Savannah was able to make it just in time. Ramatra had enough time to revive and get back onto the point. That is going to be Suski going down. It's not looking good for MTU in the moment. Isaac is on the Genji, so we'll see if we can do that.
And the 3K. That is unfortunate from the side of Michigan Tech here, but so very close. All we need is a single touch onto the point, but do we have people in position? And we do not. So a very good effort from the opposition there to keep Michigan Tech off of those last 0.06 of a meter, but a valiant fight for Michigan Tech and a not exactly bad scoreline for us as we go into this swapping of sides.
Yes, so what happens here now is that you will see that Michigan Tech was pushing the cart towards Savannah. Now Savannah will be pushing the cart toward Michigan Tech. They need to make it as far as Michigan Tech did.
Yeah,
so 0.35 meters to the end of the map.
Yeah, basically, if the opposition here manages to get that payload to its destination, Michigan Tech will lose the map. And then I do believe it is, if they manage to get it past the same amount of ticks that we did, we will go into overtime? Or is there no overtime
That is if you reach the end of the map. Since MTU did not, we shouldn't see any overtime. We should just see either you make it to the same place MTU did and you win, or you don't and you lose.
Yeah, so Michigan Tech's objective here, just run out that clock, make sure that they cannot get the payload that far. And a lot of that is going to come down to this opening fight here in the next, we get underway in the next 25 seconds here. The longer that we can stall without them getting those touches on point and getting that payload online, the harder it's going to be for the opposition here to make anything of the match so far. So looks like Isaac is going to be staying on the Mel. I just want to point out here, I don't know if you look at the top left of your screen.
This is the only time you're going to be seeing Widow in these competitive matches. It's King's Row on the side of offense. You're going to see Widow peeking out of that door in the top left, trying to get an early pick, and then immediately switching off to something more reasonable like Genji.
I just wanted to say, the Widow mic. Oh,
and there's the switch over to Tracer, to the surprise of absolutely nobody.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted.
We have officially seen Widowmaker in this competitive match, and that is all I have ever asked for, and more. So it looks like they're going back to Tracer, though, so it is going to be the Tracer Sojourn against our Mel Tracer for that DPS matchup here. So already a touch under the point by the opposition here, not exactly the greatest for Michigan Tech. I do want to see them, somebody get on point to make sure that we can stop them. Looks like we are trying to get our tank onto point, but...
Yeah, Savannah keeping a very dominant position here in the middle of the point, which is not where you want them to be.
Yeah, that first tick's going to be achieved.
You can see them turning onto Isaac, trying to take him down, but that is going to be the ice block coming out, and then the slow beam keeping him away.
Yeah, good heal up there onto our Mel, and that is going to be the enemy Tracer taking down our Tracer. So a little bit of an unfortunate overextension, just unable to get out of there.
That'll give me Savannah capping the second part of the point.
Yeah, as their Ramatra takes down our Mel as well. So that is both DPSs out of the fight for Michigan Tech up until now.
Yep, and Ramatra is just running our team all the way back to the first checkpoint, which is not great, not what you want to see, honestly.
Yeah, the payload is already online, and they have over 5 minutes to be able to run it up to the end of the map here. So it's going to take a gargantuan effort, I'd say, from the side of Michigan Tech to keep that thing stalled. But especially because I believe they will get more time when they hit that next tick.
I believe in MTU. I mean, the way that these maps work is that the further you push the point, the closer you get to the spawn of the defenders.
Yeah, so there's less time, basically, after Michigan Tech respawns before they're back in the fight. And so that was one of the reasons we saw Michigan Tech struggling right at the end there, because they take somebody down, and the instant that they've respawned, they're immediately back in. Especially here with Sussy getting a good kill. Unfortunately, the Ramatra ult for the side of the opposition here is going to be taking down our Kiriko, as well as a Lucio with that Kiriko assist, and the Sojourn getting kills onto our Ramatra and Lucio. And so a little bit of an unfortunate stall there, and a full team kill for the side of the opposition here. So unfortunately, Michigan Tech going to be pushed all the way back to their spawn, and that is going to be a lot of free space for the payload to move.
Yeah, beautiful Ramatra and Kiri ults from the side of Savannah.
Yeah, so Savannah here in good positioning to get that payload at least up into that first tick there. So Michigan Tech, can see here now all grouping back up to attempt to fight back into this with that tank going first, obviously, as you do. But the Ramatra here for the side of Savannah just
is going to be coming out for the side of MTU. I don't believe it did catch the Genji, but...
Yeah, so that is going to be a good kill onto that DPS there, but not onto the tank, which I believe they were targeting.
Yeah, just able to slip out of that. Ramatra's Nemesis form, where he enters the big punchy mode, does give movement speed, so he's able to slip right out of that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, just able to get that catch there on that side. We do, however, have our Ramatra ult up. Not a lot of ults close for the side of Savannah, except for that Lucio ult. Our Lucio ult still very far away from getting online. While we were waiting, we did see the Reaper swap from Ska, from Tracer onto Reaper.
Definitely interesting.
So, yeah, potentially Michigan Tech having more trouble than they think that they need to go through to get this Ramatra kill, because as you said earlier in the matchup, Reaper, a notorious tank shredder. So that is going to be a good 2 kills for the side of Ramatra and Lucio onto their tank and DPS.
Yeah,
so Michigan Tech actually, potentially able to push them back a little bit here now. You can see, especially with that kill from Sussy coming out onto the enemy Lucio, that is
massive
going to be
stagger.
Michigan Tech just being able to keep them stalled for even longer. And as you heard that word staggered, that was because that kill came for the side of Michigan Tech a good bit after the other kills had come, or the other people on the side of Savannah had gone down. And so it's going to take even longer for Savannah to get their full team grouped up and ready to come and retake this payload.
Yeah, MTU took a little bit longer than we would have liked to get into this match, but they're finally here. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so they've already stalled it for half the time they need to.
Yeah.
In this part of the checkpoint. If they do make it to the checkpoint, unfortunately MTU will have to stall for even longer. That is an unfortunate takedown onto Sussy and Cheesebread.
Yeah, a lot of value out of that Ramatra ult there, getting 2 kills and a third triple kill there for the Ramatra for the side of Savannah here. Reaper attempting to run away with an invulnerability, not going to last forever. Genji, though, opting not to go for that push, going back to his team. So Michigan Tech, we were able to stall out for a good bit there. but unfortunately, just with that Ramatra ult, we were a little bit
At
overextended.
3:58, I believe. Is that 2 minutes after the clock? Actually, no. We're holding it 0.36 meters away from the point. We'll be able to stop them from capping it out for another minute and 45 seconds.
Most likely not, but hey, I'm a believer, and so let's see it happen here. It's going to be a good little bit of a fight there. Unfortunately, the Sojourn is going to get the kill onto our Mel.
We just see the Isaac ult coming down. We also see the Genji ult coming down. So Genji's going to be around swinging his sword. And we do see that Sojourn railgun taking out Susky, followed by Sonder getting a take onto Cheese Bread.
Yeah, so
that's going to be them pushing the point. They now have 2 minutes, just under 3 minutes.
Yeah, to get that thing all the way to the end. But as we talked about at the beginning, this is going to be where it's hardest for Savannah to make this final push. We can see everybody here from Michigan Tech already in position to continue this fight. And so this is where it's really going to come down to it. Does Michigan Tech, do we have it in us to be able to stall them out for the next 2.5 minutes with just about 40 meters to go? It is going to be a good kill from our Mel onto the opposing Lucio. That is going to be that first support taken down. Looking for another pick here. You can see how low the Kiriko is on the opposite side. And actually it's going to be our Reaper
was down. I didn't see that many picks coming down from the enemy Sojourns. That is not great in terms of their ult economy. We do see that Reaper ult is up. Not sure when we're going to drop it. We can also see that Susky is at 98%, so getting very close. Both supports are getting close. Isaac did drop his ultimate while they were just before that first checkpoint. So it's going to be a little bit before we see another male come down.
Yeah, a Ramatra ult now online. I do have to imagine we'll invest that Reaper ult when they go for their big push onto the payload. We do see that Lucio ult coming online, the critical ult used from the side of Savannah.
We do see that Ramatra ult coming down for the side of MTU, and the Ramatra ult coming down for the side of Savannah. We'll be able to keep them off. Lucio ult dropping on both sides, as well as Kiriko ult dropping on both sides. We see that Kiriko going down. We see that Ramatra going down. We see the Genji going down. We see the Sojourn going down, and Lucio is able to slip away, but a massive 4K for the side of MTU.
I really want to applaud Chris there with the timing of that Lucio ult. You saw as their Ramatra ult came in that they also we basically traded Ramatra ults. Their Lucio popped their ult first, which means that we were able to start whittling down that overhealth and get onto that actual health before Chris decided to pop his Lucio ult. And so that perfect timing, saving up until the very last second. You can see our health bars ticking down in that top right, but it was that timing that I think gave us the ability and that sustain to get out of that Ramatra ult. And that was a blunder.
Boop onto Isaac and oh no.
Every Lucio's dream right there. Unfortunately, it has to happen for the opposing Lucio. And that is going to be just Cheese Bread left alive. And
a minute left. They're pushing the point. MTU does have time to regroup, come back, see what they're able to do. That's probably going to be about one last team fight unless they're able to fully push them off.
Yeah, so this is going to be here. Everybody now online for the side of Michigan Tech with only about 10 meters here to go for the side of Savannah. Will Michigan Tech be able to stall them out for the next 40
that
seconds?
win con is going to be the May ult from the side of Michigan Tech, but May is going to go down to the Genji ult. An excellent choice of picks for the side of Savannah. We can see Susky is running down the enemy Zarya, but will it be enough? Booped by the Lucio back into the enemy team, and that is going to be Susky going down, followed by Ska going down to a headshot kill by Kiriko.
Yeah, the payload contested, but only 2.3 meters, 1 meter,
there goes
and
that Isaac
no
but it's not going to
left.
be enough. That is going to be a win for Savannah.
A valiant attempt there by Michigan Tech, but we do have to applaud, especially as you had just said it there, that Genji ult coming out onto our Mel, basically reducing and eliminating all of our ability to have any stall onto their tank. So, unfortunate there, we fought very hard, but we do end up losing that second round. It is going to be a play of the game for the enemy Ramatra here.
Yeah, honestly, I think my GOAT of the game is the enemy Genji, just like the target acquisition onto Isaac. It's like they knew that he was the person who was getting his ult up the soonest. They were able to get onto him, get the pick, get the most important pick of that game, honestly.
Yeah, I think that you're spot on with that. Just that target isolation right there. It's, when you're playing DPS like that, like sometimes you don't have the highest scoreboard stats and stuff like that. But when you get those impact kills, like you saw how quickly, as soon as that Mel went down, everything for Michigan Tech kind of fell apart because we're building our strategy around, we have this ult coming online. As soon as that goes down, all of a sudden our Ramatra has to basically throw their life into that front line to prevent the enemies from advancing any further. But when you're in a 4v1 like that, you're only going to be able to survive for so long. We saw that good, as you said, boot from their Lucio to get us behind the enemy shields. And as soon as our tank goes down, it's just kind of game over. We don't have any of that sustained power. We can't really be soaking up the damage like that. And it is a unfortunate loss there for the side of Michigan Tech. But I still do have faith in our ability to run it through these next couple of maps because of how close that map was.
Yeah, it's definitely been closer. I mean, like the first part of the first map, definitely the roughest point for MTU in this game. We weren't able to secure that second part of the first map. where it was control points, and that was a bit unfortunate. But Kings Row was extremely close,
Yeah.
coming down to the wire.
I don't
And
know, are we able to pull up the map selection screen here? Because it looks like we have decided on our map for the third. Oh,
I was
nope,
about to say,
they're
I was
changing it
not
again.
familiar with that map that came up. I didn't realize there was a map called Atlas, but I do know New Junk City.
Yes.
Yes.
Very popular Flashpoint map. A lot of some close range fighting, some outdoors fighting. If this is the map that I'm thinking of, I think that it's going to be very important that Michigan Tech manages to take control early, because I believe at least this first point, it's kind of a lot of indoors and then outdoor areas, which means that it can kind of be really hard and you get stalled out a lot if you don't have control over that initial flashpoint spot, especially if the opposing team is doing a good job of staggering when your deaths are coming in. You never really feel like you can get your full team up to go for an actual 5-on-5 team fight.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see the New Junk City here. I mean, Suravasa is pretty standard as a pick for MTU in terms of the third map of the series, but I guess our team knows something I don't. Obviously, I mean they've probably been scrimming it. They have some strategy that works very effectively on New Junk City. I believe in our Huskies. I'm pretty sure they got something cooking.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this takes us. I will be interested to see if we do have any roster changes coming in. Looks like we're still going to be having Susky. Looks like Isaac
Yep, this is
Susky.
just
Yeah,
about the team we're expecting. See, Isaac is our May Venture Genji gamer, you
yeah,
might say. Ska, of course, our Tracer player. Cheesebread, normally rocking on the Kiriko Savage, filling what's needed. We'll probably see him on Lucio on this map. Lucio is pretty standard pick for Flashpoint just because there's so much ground to cover in the map
yeah,
that the Lucio speed boost and just like passive speed boost to his team is really effective here. And then
yeah,
Susky, of course, we like going the brawl comp on this map. So Jolo is more of our marksman character, or our marksman player, our sniper. You generally won't see him when we're running these kind of brawl comps with Susky.
yeah. So should be a very chaotic match for us to get into here momentarily. Hoping to see a lot of good stuff out of the side of Michigan Tech. I think that we did have a lot of luck, as you had said, with that second map comp there. Um, Basically just looking for us to, I don't know if it's capitalized on advantages more, because it felt like we had a lot of really good team fights. It was just that oftentimes it felt less like we were doing things wrong and more like the opposing team was just doing things right, especially when it came down to that last
Just a little
fight
bit
there.
more
Just,
right.
yeah, just maybe potentially Armel at the end there just not realizing that that they were probably gonna be the target for the Genji ult, maybe just playing a little bit further forward than they should have in that situation there. As we had talked about previously, just at a high enough level of play like this, it's just all those micro mistakes, things that might not seem like a big deal, can be the things that win or lose you games, because they are the things that are going to be capitalized on. If Genji, in those final moments, sees that Mel is just a tiny bit overextended, all it takes is that split second to get that ult off, and we basically lose our ability to have any fighting stay in the game. And so looking for Michigan Tech to just potentially be a little bit more cognizant of stuff like that. I don't really know who I am to give advice to them, considering that I have about 20 hours in the game in total, and all of these people have many thousands of hours on the game, but just from my layman's perspective, up here in the caster booth, that's what I'm looking forward to. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think MT's got this, honestly. I
Yeah.
don't want to say the words because, Caster's curse,
If there's wood
but
somewhere, we can
it might
knock
start
on
with
it.
an R and end with an inverse sweep. It's always possible, ladies and gentlemen. Like there's never a time when it's not
Yeah.
possible.
Brings back Fnatic versus Loud Valorant 11-1 down lock-in vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend that made sense.
If you that there was it was the finals of lock-in, I believe 2024, 2023. Loud versus Fnatic. Loud sweeps Fnatic the first two maps. We get to the third map, Fnatic is down 11-1, so they're 1-11, or like 10-2 or something like that. And then Fnatic came back to not only win that map that they were down 11-1 in, or 11-2 in overtime, but then to just utterly destroy Loud on the next two maps. And so it's that comeback energy that we're looking to.
Yeah,
Obviously, don't want Michigan Tech to have the equivalent of being down 11-1 here in this match, but that kind of energy, just that, mindset that's really sought after when you're playing at these higher levels, where what happened previously doesn't matter. right? You lost the last map, the last round happens, it doesn't matter. I think that our Huskies have it in them, and I know they have it in them to just, do that mental reset. We have these next 3 games. Let's pretend, it's the start of the best of 5. We're going to 3-0 them. That's the energy that I'm looking for coming into this third map.
Yeah, anyone familiar with the Super Smash Bros. Melee documentary, you may know the line, and now he will try. And I think it's like that same kind of energy, like, okay, reset mental, we may be down, but we're not out. We are still in this. There's still a chance. There's always a chance. We got this.
Yeah, so basically, like we said, just that's what we're looking for here. As we wait to get you guys into the action here on this third map, anything we want to talk about for what's happening on campus here? I know we had talked about Thanksgiving break happening. Am looking forward to that, rest and relaxation at home. What about you?
Yeah, I think that finding a great place to call home is pretty important. And, if you're an MTU student and you need to live close to campus, we've got places for that. Find the perfect location, live where you want to live, HoughtonForRent.com.
Yeah, and speaking of rent, I'm hoping that we'll be living rent-free in the opponent's heads here on this third map as we are getting into the action now. We have loaded up, waiting for the hero assembly here to come in, and we will get you guys right underway and into what is going to be happening. So we'll get you swapped over to that just momentarily.
Yeah, New Junk City is one of these newer maps from Overwatch 2. A very beautiful location. I wouldn't want to live there because, one, it's in Australia. It's probably really hot over there.
Everything's upside down.
And everything's upside down, but also everything's kind of like, it's a very beautiful looking map, but not exactly prime real estate like you might be able to find here in Houghton, HoughtonForRent.com.
There we go. The 5-minute advert.
Yeah. Anyway, New Junk City.
Well, also consider, if you look at the screen right now, there's a lot of spikes.
Yeah, not pleasant, but hey, it is like a fighting arena town, ruled over by a person called Junker Queen. We may even see it come up here. Who's to say? It looks like both teams are locking in Maga, actually. So it looks like we won't be seeing that Junker Queen. Yep, you can see our Maga charging in right there. That Lucio speed boost providing that green glow to the feet.
I believe we did just... Oh yeah, Maga, that guy. For some reason
Maga
was looking at the
has
support and I was like,
2 machine guns, heals from his critical hits, and then also gets critical hits on people who are on fire, and his shots set people on fire. So just a whole bunch of healing over time just by shooting people.
Yeah, and speaking of Maga, I think there's a little bit of a Maga diff right out the gate, as that is going to be our Mel with the assist of our Lucio and Maga actually taking down the opposing Maga. So that's going to be pretty big there, that tank going down early for the side of Savannah here. Unfortunately, it is going to be the Genji trade here back with Lucio's assistance onto our Maga. But Luce, obviously, Eric, or Chris, not to be outdone, is going to Lucio diff.
But beautiful little May wall there. Did you see that? They were unable to get away, and our Lucio and May. Lucio's a support, but don't let that make you think that he does no damage. Lucio can do crazy damage when he locks in.
I have died to it more times than I want to count.
Yeah, you're a Widow player, the natural prey of Lucio. Lucio will come flying in at 200 miles per hour right into the Widow's hiding spot and just, headshot.
Don't remind me, please. Speaking of things here, our Kiriko, Lucio, and Maelt are about to come online here as we actually get a Reaper kill onto the tank of the opposing side there. Unfortunately, it is going to be Sojourn traded back onto Savage, so Lucio out of the fight for a brief moment. That is going to be a 2v1 for the side of Michigan Tech. I think that a 3v1 is our Reaper is going to be taking down whoever that is for the side of Savannah, because I know that they diff me on Widow, but I forget the name of that character. The doctor? Snape?
Dr. Snape. Ana.
Yeah,
yes.
Ana.
Ana canonically lost the 1v1 in the lore, so
yeah,
Widow should have the lore
eye.
matchup. Yes, she did indeed lose her eye to Widow's shot. There's a famous lore line that maybe I'll get into later, because we do have some action going on right here. You see that Kyriel coming down for the side of MTU. Maga's going to be charging in, popping his cardiac overdrive, so he's going to be healing a ton from his health. Unfortunately, that Ana nade is going to be stopping the healing of MTU. Isaac is dropping his ultimate as May. Well, we saw that Lucio ult come out for the side of MTU.
2 trades back, though.
But
3.
it looks like MTU has taken down 3 of the enemy team. We're taking this without our tank. Hey, we're in
Yeah,
this.
that's, I think, our Lucio Wall not getting a lot of value, their Lucio Wall getting a good bit of value, but Michigan Tech just proving that in order to take advantage of Lucio Wall, you actually have to shoot back, which it seems that Michigan Tech was the only one doing there in that fight, because we very quickly dispatched of them, even considering how many ults were layered down there. So, a very good team effort for the side of Michigan Tech. A lot of chaotic stuff happening very quickly, but we do end up coming out on top, and we now have control over this first flashpoint.
Yeah, so if I had to guess, Maga-based brawl comps are actually pretty crazy on New Junk City at the moment. And it looks like our Maga's just a little bit better at the moment, is what I'm seeing.
Unfortunately, though, 3 ults on the side of Sojourn, Reaper, and Maga there for the side of Savannah. Actually, no, our Maga ult coming online as well. We're actually pretty close to all of our ults with our Reaper ult online as well. So we're probably gearing up for a very quick fight here.
Yep, that is going to be the Maga ult dropping for the side of Savannah. I haven't seen our Maga ult drop just yet. Holding on to it for a bit. That is going to be Susky going down without popping ultimate. So, good save on that ult. That's going to be all of MTU getting taken down by that Maga ult, and it looks like the Reaper popped ult as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a team kill onto MTU from the side of Savannah there. Reaper ult basically just sits in a circle, spins around with his shotguns while screaming, die, 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 and it does a lot of damage if you're way too close to him.
Yeah, so what we're seeing here now is we do see that Sojourn ult on the other side. On Flashpoint, you'll see these points built a lot faster than on that first map we were watching because there are 5 of them instead of 3, and you don't go to a different map entirely in between each point. You just stay on the same map and you walk there.
Yeah. So, a little bit of an interesting variation on the game mode. Our Lucio ult is actually going to be popped there. Our Kiriko
and that's going to be the enemy team's Maga going down. We see Cheesebread and Savage for the winner both down. Ska on his last health. That is going to be Ska going down as well. Saunder getting 2 kills and Snap picking up another kill. Apparently switching off that Ana wasn't happy with how that was working out. I assume that Savage was giving them a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so it looks like Michigan Tech regrouping here. Maybe one additional opportunity, one last hurrah to get back control of this point. Or
they're too
no,
far
they've
away.
rotated
No,
off to the next point,
they're just walking off the next point, trying to get a good head start.
Yeah, so it'll be about 40 seconds here until that flashpoint actually unlocks. What exactly does the Maga ult do?
Yeah, so Maga ult puts down this big circle, stops enemies from leaving. I'm fairly certain he gets infinite ammo to just shoot at him, or shoot at them while they're trapped inside of the cage. It can be broken by shooting at the cage, but if you're shooting at the cage, you're not shooting at Maga, who is in the process of shooting at you with 2 miniguns.
Yeah, so a little bit of damage there. One could say.
Just a bit.
Very quick one-way ticket back to the respawn screen, but a little bit of a brawl coming in back here now. We're looking to push forward, go for another one of these big team fights here. Good healing onto our Maga.
Susky getting a little bit low, wasting a little part of his cardiac overdrive by charging in, which is not the greatest. Cardiac overdrive, he heals for every shot, and it's quite a bit of healing to gain. And but I guess he found it more prudent to charge in as opposed to getting that extra healing. Which he's the Maga player here, not me.
Unfortunately, though, that's going to be a team
MTU.
kill. It looks like our Reaper killed him, jumped off the map potentially on accident, or I'm not sure, but I did see our Reaper died and there was nobody that killed him. So
yeah, so Reb's a little bit of a misplay from Ska, but he'll lock in.
Sometimes we're feeling a bit silly like that. Nothing wrong with that, but
just giving the other team hope, hopefully.
Yeah, it's those courtesy hopes. We do have a lot of ults online here. The Kiriko ult being used for the side of Michigan Tech. Reaper and Mel are.
So that is going to be the cage coming down from the side of Savannah. He is not going to be able to escape the May ult, so was able to get around the corner and not get frozen by it.
Yeah, so a little bit of a 3v3 here, a lot of damage onto the side of Michigan Tech here. We're respawning. It is going to be a good kill from our Reaper onto the Zodiac from the opposite side, but their Reaper is going to trade back onto our Kiriko, but we are going to instantly trade that out as we Reaper diff the opponents briefly here. So the Maga here...
It's like fighting Godzilla, just like shoot him from enough different angles that he can't deal with all of you.
Yeah. Almost taking down their Maga there for the side of Michigan Tech, but he is able to get away, unfortunately, for Savannah, so that is going to be a reset coming in for them, especially considering that Michigan Tech, however, we have taken control of the point again. And so this point has almost gone to the side of Savannah, but we are now the ones that have that and are ticking up. So our Maga ult about to come online. Kiriko ult online for the opposite team here.
Their Maga has taken the high ground and is currently blasting at our squishier people on our team. We see that Maga ult coming down from the side of MTU. Will it be enough to get the kill? We can see that, Susky is currently running down. That's going to be a kill going down onto Ericek. We can see Snap has gone down. Isaac and Cheesebread and Savage for the win have both followed. So it's just Ska and Susky versus the world. Will they be able to keep this point on lock? That is going to be Shottle going down thanks to Susky. he's blasting his Reaver as much as he can, but unfortunately there's also that Lucio there providing some passive healing, and Susky will be going down as well, and that is going to be a second point going to Savannah.
Yeah, in all of that chaos, both Lucios got a boop kill off the side of the map, I believe that was.
Yeah, I could believe that.
So a little bit unfortunate there for the side of Michigan Tech that we also had to lose a player to that. But this is it. This is do or die for Michigan Tech. You lose the next flashpoint, you lose any flashpoint in the next 3, and you are out. You have lost today's match. And so this is, if there was ever a time to really, lock in, give your rallying cry to the squad, it's right now.
Yeah, it started off great. You can see that Lucio ult coming down from the side of Savannah. That's also going to be their Reaper ult coming down. Or sorry, that's going to be our Lucio and Reaper ult. My apologies. Sonder, who we are watching, does currently have their ultimate still. Yes. So that is definitely something to watch out for. But it looks like MTU is kind of winning this fight.
Yeah, hopefully be able to, keep on to that as we continue to go through here. So not exactly the end of the world. We do have control of this first point, so we'll have to see how long we can hold it for. Hopefully the entire time. Susky diving in here off of that drive. The enemy Maga there getting kind of Maga diffed there, actually, from the side of Michigan Tech. That's a very good dive kill.
Yeah, their Maga dropped ult, but we were like, hey, we're here. We're showing up. Okay, 1v1 us right now.
Yeah, unfortunately now stuck in a 2v3 for the side of Michigan Tech. Our tank just playing around that pillar. It is going to be the swap of the contestation of the point there for the side of Savannah. So they do now have control of that. You can see our Maga retreating a little bit, just looking to retreat back and group up for the rest of the team to go and attempt to reclaim this point here. We do have Maga ult and Reaper ult online. Lucio ult charged to about half. They also have about half on Lucio ult, and they are about to get Kiriko ult online.
Or apologies, correction, we have the May ult online.
Yes,
Reaper is still a far bit off, but easy mistakes to make. They're both right next to each other. We can see that Susky has dropped his ultimate, as well as Isaac. Brutal little combination. Maga holding them in there, and Isaac freezing them. Maga was able to escape on the side of Savannah, and that's going to be both Magas going down, as well as most of MTU. It's just Isaac and Ska. Will they be able to hold it? Isaac able to ice block to try and maintain a little space. That is a nice little headshot kill onto the Lucio. Unfortunately, Sojourn was able to get that pick onto Ska, and then that is going to be Kiri getting a pick onto Isaac.
Alone, they're doing everything that they can. We are actually going to take the point back, though, after those 2 kills.
Yeah, Cheesebread and Savage for the win. Flying in out of nowhere to finish them off and take that point.
Yeah, that is a very good, nice little double there. Susky retreating backwards a little bit here, just getting dived with the enemy Maga. Is going to be pretty low, does not have a support in sight to be able to sustain him and keep him alive.
5 seconds until that cardiac overdrive comes back up, so he's really just timing that out, trying to get there, trying to get a little healing bit, getting a little healing from his supports. Where is Cheesebread? There you can see Cheesebread is healing up Susky.
It is control of the point, however, for Savannah, though. 10% left here. Michigan Tech needs to dive. They need to go to this point. They
needs to go in there. That is going to be him canceling the charge. We are going to see Lucio hopping in onto there. Yep, you can see Reaper down there as well.
Lucio online,
getting on the point. Yep, Lucio is online. Will it be enough? You can see Isaac that gets a kill onto the enemy Sojourn. Their Lucio also popped ult. They don't have any ults for a little bit here, but Maga ult on their side is quickly approaching. Maga's going to be going down. That is going to be the Reaper ult coming down from the side of Savannah, not catching anybody on MTU.
Good kill.
Just the Kiriko left. And Susky is able to, no, they're able to slip away, unfortunately.
Unfortunate, but in all of that chaos, Michigan Tech, we did gain control of that point again. And so it is not over yet. Just 20% until we'll have a reset on the flashpoints and be able to hopefully, take the next one and, move forward with what we're doing here. So very nerve-wracking here. Can Michigan Tech hold on to this point for the next 5%? You can see Savannah here on the point. It's contested now. They're attempting to take it here. Overtime for Michigan Tech. All we have to do is keep them off the point as this fight comes in here. It's going to be 2 kills to the side of Savannah. On the side of Michigan Tech, 3. Is this Michigan Tech? Are we crumbling? It's a trade back from Savage for the win. Onto the Maga there, but Sonder onto Savage. It's just Susky doing everything he can to the point. We swapped the registration to try to get that touch back, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And that is our Michigan Tech Huskies, unfortunately, falling in this match. And that is going to be a 3-0 win from the side of Savannah. Hard fought from our Huskies, but unfortunately, we were not the ones that came out on top in today's game. A little bit of a flexing here from the side of Savannah, rubbing salt in the wound a little bit as we go into this